get that last no-scope kill and hit pause. It's time for the video game podcast where the Konami code is alive and well. The console wars don't exist. Rings are just as valuable as coins. Pots are not safe from swords. Giant robots kick ass. And fireballs are a perfectly acceptable weapon in a fist fight. That's right, it's time for the Super Gamer Bros Podcast Ultra Hyper Alpha Super EX Double Impact Plus A Live. Settle in and let's get to gaming.
Hey everyone, welcome to... I forgot what I was doing. Welcome to Super Gamer Bros, y'all.
Press X for explanation. X for explanation. No, why are you hitting Y?
Yeah, I know. Hey, welcome to Super Gamer Bros. Cynic is playing a different game today, so it's just your gamers.
He's playing husband.
Yeah, he's playing real life husband in real life. But he may,
out game ever.
like we're not doing a very long show today, but he may join us. We just don't know. But we were originally going to have a very heated argument because y'all saw last time it got pretty heated. Which is we don't get political from time to time, but there are times where we just absolutely lose it. So we were going to do something very different today. But Pocket's like we've had a shitty week, y'all. There's a lot on the line, and now things are starting to maybe look like it's going to be really positive. If you like to move forward to the future, if you want to be stuck in Hillbilly Past, then of course you're mad. That's just me saying things because I do have Hillbilly Past people. Anyways, I think it was a good idea you had to let's just change the subject. So we thought, what's change it to? Well, an interesting thing happened last week that I got to talk about this week on the Destiny show because last night we did premiere episode 2 of Fireteam Misadventure. But they revealed a major secret surprise from the upcoming Destiny expansion, which launches next Tuesday, that I was really pissed about. Because there are some things that happen in a video game that are absolutely mind-boggling awesome when you don't see it coming. Mm-hmm. So today's topic is the plot twists and turns that we really enjoyed in the games that we played that just made us happy. Or just made us happy to be gamers. I want to see which first one Pocky has up her sleeve.
I mean that would be obviously Would You Kindly.
Yes, BioShock with the Would You Kindly.
Not the reveal that Atlas was the bad guy, but the Would You Kindly. That sentence reveal that thing has been controlling you the entire time, and you don't even notice it until you're shown it. I saw Atlas like, oh, the guy behind the voice is the one who's like really going to be the villain. That's not like that's the thing. But when they reveal the command phrase,
yes, Would You Kindly.
Would You Kindly.
That one, because BioShock, I just loved BioShock.
Yeah.
I thought that game was amazing. 2 was still good. 3 was different in its own way, and I enjoyed it. But I really liked the setting of 1 and 2 more than 3. I thought that the Would You Kindly, there was no way you were going to top that, period, in any of these games. So
my biggest complaint with 3 is a lot of, it seemed like they had 2 writers writing 2 different stories and then they shuffled them.
Yeah.
Like, there are points where you're like, wait, if he did this and he was this and he did this and wait, that means he's dead, but he shouldn't be dead. And if this is another reality, then they know who he is, but they say he's been dead for years. But this one character is still alive, and it's like you lost track. You've lost your flow on number 3. But yeah, the whole reveal at the end that you're Comstock and Comstock is you, and it's because you're the one who didn't get baptized in the river and found Jesus.
So those games tried really hard, but they did not come to the Would You Kindly and it was so well executed. Would you kindly open that door? Would you kindly take care of that person? Like, so well executed because you wouldn't even think in a million years that was the story plot to make it that you're brainwashed to follow a trigger word.
I mean, it was also like, would you kindly find something to defend yourself with? And you do. You find the wrench. And you're like, well, I mean, obviously I have to find a wrench. I need the weapon, but you're not aware at the time that's going to be following you. And then at the point when it's like, would you kindly stop breathing? Would you kindly have your heart stop working? And it's like, that's how much control it has. His heart was literally stopping.
Yeah, so Would You Kindly definitely ranks up there. But I'm surprised you didn't go with the first one that I'm going with because I think of all of video game logic, all of video game stories. To me, there is nothing more mind boggling, plot twisty, fuck you over than you are Darth Revan from Knights of the Old Republic.
That was yes, I agree, but I mean to me that was really good, and I didn't see it coming.
I
But it
don't know
was
a single person who saw that coming.
no nobody. I mean, there's a couple people, but they're all snobs about it. But it's like, nah, you don't see it because you're the hero.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of weird things where if you think about it long enough, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like, why were you on the ship? I mean, even like two of the characters, like, why were you on the ship?
You were kidnapped and brainwashed.
Yes,
So
but you
there
had
were
yourself
people who do.
brainwashed.
But the thing is that was such a well crafted story with characters you loved, and it was so much fun. And you're really getting into it, wondering how this is going to end. And it turns out that you were the bad guy. Like,
Yeah, you
I
filmed
loved
it.
it.
Hey, you're gonna film it. You're gonna cause an evil organization to resurge, and you're going to be the head of it, not because of some destiny, but because this is what you wanted.
Yeah, it was $5 on Xbox last week, so I rebought the first one because I don't have it anymore. And Phil started playing, and it just took me right back. It took me straight back to how much fun that was because the second game was just rushed and felt short sighted. Like, one of the things I love is game endings. I want this awesome cinematic and this beautiful wrap up. The ending of Older Knights of the Old Republic 2 was so bad. Like, it was like a 30-second, here's a planet, here's an old lady, bye! Like,
The two was like, oh god, why haven't they knew one was going to be a success, but I don't think they
I
were.
don't think they knew how big it was going to be because it was
Yeah.
a big risk. It was before all the Star Wars movies. They were telling new stories in a new era. They did not have any idea how people were going to take it.
I mean, at that point, all the Star Wars games were either about Rogue One, the not Rogue One, but Red Squad,
Yeah.
or they were just retellings of the original movies, like
They were
the
they were
like the
games that
super
took place during the
franchise.
movies, like Shadows of the Empire. There was some that took. I don't know. Was there any that took place after? Because Battlefront took place all during it. Shadows of the Empire was during it. All the Squadron games were. All the RTS games were during it. Like, I thought that Lucas had a rule where you couldn't tell stories from before A New Hope at this point in time because he was trying to figure out the whole sequel stuff. I mean, prequel stuff. So
Which supposedly he had already written for years. If you ask him about the prequels,
the prequels are not bad. They're just very different movies. It's a political era. Things are a lot brighter and happier. They're not industrial and grim like the original three. So I give it some credit, but it's full of racist aliens. Come on.
well, it's not even just full of racist aliens. There's a lot of like ham fisting, like Qui-Gon Jinn. Like Qui-Gon Jinn was just there to be cool and die.
So was Darth Maul. He knew. He knew when he had a Darth Maul and he killed Maul to piss everyone off, which is why I'm glad they brought him back for Clone Wars and beyond. Because that was a badass villain, y'all. That was just a badass villain. So when it comes to Star Wars, it has "I'm Your Father" as one of the biggest trippy surprises of all time. I don't know if anything could ever top that. And then "You Are Darth Revan," like that was just genius writing. So what's next on your list?
Next on my list is you're the seventh guest.
For
The seventh guest.
yeah,
But it turns out you're dead. You've
I
been
don't think
dead.
I don't remember playing that game.
So if you get the bad ending,
Uh huh.
you find out you've been dead and you didn't do it right. So you start all over. And apparently you've been doing it all over many, many times. In fact, you've been dead so long you don't even remember being dead. And so you have to find out that you've been dead this entire time.
Now I want to go play that game, but I probably won't. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's got a lot of moon logic and some R&D, but yeah, it was
Was
part
it-
of
Is it one of those point and click adventures from the old days?
Yeah, it's a point and click adventure FMV games, which
Yeah.
FMV games as a whole love doing plot twists, but the problem is they either went in two camps of plot, because FMV games either were horror mystery or mystery. Like you had like two schools. You could either be a horror mystery or a mystery.
I don't think FMV games would have worked any other way, to be honest with you.
Well, there's a couple that proved, but
Maybe
yeah,
like a relationship type one, like
Yeah.
like one of those weird J. What do you call them? J pop relationship games. What the hell are they called?
Date Sims.
Date Sims. There we go. Yes. Which there's one on Kickstarter. It's not about backing called
With
Vampire Romance or something like that. It's just
there's a surprising return of the FMV video game. People are bringing it back. In fact, there's a company that's primarily all they do. They've got one called the Shape-Shifting Detective, which is you're a detective who is a shifter,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to use your shape-shifting powers to like get people to talk.
That could be interesting. I think that could also be a very easy game if you knew what you're doing. Like I don't mind games that don't have boss battles and are not all complex. Like After Party, that was just a very simple story game. Murdered Soul Suspect was a story game. There wasn't really a boss battle. I mean, if you want to call it a boss battle, but I don't mind games like that. It's nice to break the mold of the let's build up to this ultimate thing. So I could see this one being kind of fun, but also kind of easy.
Well, no, it's not, because you got to remember, if like let's say someone shapeshifted into me and then you start having a conversation, like I started asking you questions, you're like, but you already know this. Wait, why are you asking me this?
You're giving me way too much credit here. Let me just tell you that right now. You know me. I'd be like, okay, we just had this conversation. So seventh guest, I agree with that. For those of you who are just tuning in, we're doing a special Super Gamer Bros about plot twists in games that we just really enjoy that make us happy in this week of turmoil.
Yeah, games that like the plot, like we were rolling along and we're like, oh, yeah, that's different.
So, it's not a show if I don't bring up Space Channel 5.
Okay, because I want to know what the plot twist of Space Channel 5 was.
The plot twist of Space Channel 5 Part 1 that we did not see coming is that the bad guy is your friend boss. It's not the aliens. He manipulated the entire thing to destroy everything else that makes Space Channel 5 the ultimate TV station. He was the bad guy. So when you finally got to that point, you thought you were done, and you realized all the aliens are just being used. They were all brainwashed by him to be the scapegoats, and he was the actual bad guy. And you're like, finally, by the time you're done, what's going to happen to the network? What's going to happen to all the people? That was her friend. Like, that was her boss and mentor. He was a jackass.
Yeah, he was using you to make you the ultimate idol.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was an earlier plot twist, I think. That was because when I was playing the game, I didn't even think about a boss battle. I just knew we were going to dance off with some aliens and that'd be it. But then they threw in the story element. Boom! Here you go with this like heart wrenching. It's your boss, but he's a jackass. What are you going to do? Dance him to death?
Yeah, that's who lost power.
Anyway, so that one doesn't need any more explanation. Let's go to yours. What do you have on your list? Because I only have one more I can think about.
I have a couple more. One is Persona 5's plot twist. So what's your last one, Gavin?
Oh, no. If you have, I
can't talk about it yet. It hasn't been a decade.
Okay, so there we go. All right, so my last one.
We can't literally talk about it. We have the fan community is huge. Okay, I'm gonna explain this because everyone's like, "Oh, she's just copying out. She's just copying out." The Persona community is big on spoilers. Like they don't like if there's an image, someone's like, "Oh man, that's a spoiler. You got to be careful." But like, 5 has one of the best plot twists in some of the best plot twists in a JRPG. There is a plot twist at a certain point in the game
Pocky,
where you're
just break it. Don't be afraid of them.
No. I'm going to do it because I love that game and I want people to play, and I don't want anyone seeing that coming.
All right. Well,
I'm doing this out of respect and love of the franchise, sir.
The last one that I have is because I was just thinking of my favorite ones of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Alan Wake. That was one of the best games I have ever played. And when you find out that everything is happening because you killed your wife and you're being haunted over it, wow. I thought there was going to be some sort of cult thing going on, and that's what was causing all this, the shadows and the hauntingness and all the bizarreness that went on. No, it's because you fucked up and killed your wife. And to me, that was a good way to wrap up that game.
Did he inadvertently or overtly killed his wife?
He knew he killed his wife for real. And so he was in a state of denial about it. It's been a little while. He ended up in the town. He kept getting haunted by the shadows and everything else and having these issues because he was supposed to be doing research for a new book. And it was all because he killed his wife. And he went there on purpose to torment himself. And yeah, it was pretty messed up ending.
I Can Raise You a Dead Wife.
That was a really good game, though. Like, I loved the mechanics with the flashlights and the lights and the stuff in the shadows. That was the only game I did not, like, go completionist on, because when I would see something, like, way off in the darkness, my brother would taunt me, he goes, go get it. You want to go get it. And you'd hear the shit moving around, like, no, I got, like, a quarter of a battery left. I will not make it back alive. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So those are the three that I really had. What's the next one on your list?
Next on my list is I'm Going to Raise You a Dead Wife.
Okay.
Silent Hill 2. James did kill his wife. He fucking murdered her.
Yeah.
Then made himself forget. Blamed her cancer.
Silent Hill 2 was a pretty jacked up.
And then you drowned yourself in a lake by throwing your car with you in it off a bridge.
Man, Silent Hills are really fucked up when you think about it.
And how you have to get that ending is you have to get the other side of the cassette.
Yeah.
If you listen to the pillow muffling, you'll hear her screaming, "James, let me breathe." You get to hear your victim's last moments, and then you realize you murdered your wife. I'm like, yeah, Alan killed his wife, but James murdered her. She wanted to live. She knew the cancer may still win, but she wanted to survive. And I'm like, that's fucked up. Because not even Pyramid Head get to kill him. He died by drowning his own ass to death. And that's the canon ending.
Yeah, it's... See, I remember Silent Hill 1 really well. I remember most of Silent Hill 2. The other ones after that, I don't remember their whole stories. I have that problem is I don't remember a lot of the stories unless there's something really epic in it. I remember playing the games, but like I remember Clock Tower, but I don't think I ever beat it. I remember aspects of games, but it takes that weird and great storytelling, especially with twists that I will remember and just be like, yeah. Because Silent Hill 2 was a really, really good one. But because you probably have another one, here's what kicked this idea off for me.
Huh.
So Destiny Forsaken, they killed a major character everyone loved, Cayde 6. You probably already know that. And
yeah, they killed was it the character that Nathan Fillion was voicing?
Yeah. They killed Cayde 6, and it was Prince Uldren, one of my favorite characters, that did it because he was actually brainwashed by Riven the Dragon. So we killed Uldren. And then halfway through another season, when we were doing the Queen's quests, there was a video you could unlock of a ghost reviving Uldren, and when you get revived, you don't remember anything about your life before. So there's been these weird lore stories for years about what he's been doing. So they did the big launch trailer, and this season, is bringing in the darkness, and we have to go to Europa because the Fallen, who the Traveler abandoned, are now embracing the darkness. And Osiris is there, and who the fuck do they show with Osiris? Uldren. Just out of nowhere. Of course he'd be with Osiris, but just why would you spoil this moment of having that great, oh shit, in-game moment of this is what it was leading up to, because everybody hates him because he killed Cayde. So I was at that point of why would you spoil something like that? But they're going to have plenty of other surprises, I know. But that's the conversation.
Because I think, and this is again, we're not going to have any of this thing, but they wanted a moment where you're like, I have to own this because I want to know why.
That's exactly what the guy said on Fireteam Misadventure. But there's already plenty of reasons people want to own this for the new powers, the new systems that are coming out. I mean, people are going to buy it anyways. But
it's layers of things. You have,
it's the layers and layers of things. I wish they would have just maybe done something a little different. maybe like allude to Prince Aldrin being there at some point in time because we all thought he was going to be on the Cosmodrome. Uh, so
My wife is throwing things around on her desk.
give us your last one that you
My
have.
last one is not a super big plot twist. You kind of see it coming, but you don't see part of it coming, which is Kefka's betrayal.
And
Final Fantasy 3, aka 6. 6,
Oh.
aka 3.
yes,
When Kefka betrays the Emperor. Now you're like, okay, the Emperor, we're going to the statues of the goddesses that bring balance. You're like, okay, we're going to get betrayed here. What you don't realize is everyone's getting betrayed, including the Emperor, who thought he was going to grab power. No, Kefka he's going to move the statues, and then you get to the end of the world. Like, the world gets rewritten, the map changes, and everything else. And to me and my brother, we were playing that game, we were like, did we get the bad ending? Is there a bad ending in this game? Like, what the hell?
You have a point. Final Fantasies are full of great storytelling and twists everywhere. But for me, 7 is always going to be the best. People argue they like the earlier ones. I love 7.
See, 7 is a defining moment of the game. Like, I'm not a fan of 7. I don't hate 7. I don't hate it, but it's just like, to me, like, it was an okay story for its time. It was good, but not great. There are better JRPGs around the same time. I'm happy with what they've done with the remake, where they've added actually more lore and more stuff that I think flushed the franchise out from Cloud being a kind of their pretty boy, I'm brooding. Why are you brooding? Because I brood.
He was an imposter. He was an imposter the whole time.
Yeah, but that whole reveal, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was weighted. Like it was like, oh, you're right.
It was very much a game of its time, but it also did usher in a whole next generation of gaming, in my opinion. Like, that was the defining moment that really took us to PlayStation and beyond. But yeah, I'm playing 15. Right? Is that the one where your bachelor party gone to hell?
Yeah, the bachelor party gone to hell. Yes, it's 15.
I love 15. I love 15 too. I love it all. But yeah, Final Fantasy's full of lots of those great writing and twists and fun things like that.
How far are you into 15?
The Empire's Fallen. I'm going around to the King's Crypts, getting the powers. Okay.
You don't have to go to all of them, but I really do recommend doing it because
I'm going to go to all of them because I'm going to be a completionist in this one. I love the characters. I love the party. I'm okay with the live action attacking because it's hack and slash. And I love it.
I warn you now. Be very careful about progressing the story because of how the story progression works. I don't want to say things are locked off, but there is a point in the game where you're like, "Fuck."
I do all the hunts and everything in the towns before I move on.
Yeah,
that's just the way I've always been.
Yeah, but I'm just warning you now. Like, there are points in the game where you're like, there's a point in the game where you're like, "Fuck, I can't do anything else but just move the story forward." The boulder's moving downhill now, and I can't stop it.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Like, I took my time in 7. 8 was okay. I didn't finish 9. I hated 10. I played a little bit of the online one. Got kicked out of it. We actually got banned.
How?
We were jackasses, and we were convincing people of fake quests so they'd go to areas they would instantly die in. That's where I get the name Viva Fentuzler from, for my email, because my name was Fentuzler Larange. My friend's name was Pamphlet Dumedia, and we had like Reginald Dufresnoy or something like that. And we went around and we told people that we would send new players so often to places they'd instantly die and on quests that didn't really met. And so they had a lot of complaints against us, so they banned us from the game.
See, my thing is, I hated 8 because it was trying so hard to be more edgy than 7. Like, if 7 was edgy, we're going to be the most edgy McEdgyton ever. Like, the whole thing that the magic you use is ripping your memories out. And then
I thought that was a good way to explain things. I like the fact that the bad guy ended up being on your side at the end. I
And then time
enjoy.
traveling's involved. And
Yeah,
look, Final Fantasy's never done good time traveling, both in 1 and 4 and 8. They never do time traveling well. Like, just don't touch time traveling.
I
I
think
liked
you're crazy.
10. I liked 10. Like, 10 had some really good ideas. The storytelling, some of it you could see a mile away. You're like 3 towns over, you could see the next story beat.
Yeah,
Like, where one of the characters is dead. Like, there's like the one of the head summoner is evil, and you're like, really? Didn't see that coming. The head of the church is
Ah,
evil.
all right, so that's been this week's episode. Like I said, we just want to keep it short, just kind of talk and have a little bit of fun to kind of lighten up your week. Hopefully, you guys had some fun talking about this.
Yeah, tell us in the comments what your favorite.
Yeah, when you're watching this, let us know what your favorites are, and we'll be back next week. I don't know what we're talking about. Maybe we'll talk about game development. Maybe we'll talk about something else. I have no idea yet.
I'm trying to get some people on for that one.
So we'll put game development on hold. There'll be something fun next week, and we'll be back to game streaming next week. It's just we want everyone to be safe.
I have next week's subject.
What is it?
The seasonal game releases, like how that's almost gone now.
Okay, we'll talk about that. But most importantly, we want everybody to be safe.
Be safe, be happy.
I know this has been a very hectic week.
It is.
I'm not even going to lie to you guys. We, as a whole at Kaiju Labs Media, just really can't go through another 4 years of this. Most of us are LGBTQ.
I identify as a trans woman, and I just came out on Facebook. The day on my birthday, November 3rd, I came out as a trans woman. Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, guys. The night I started doing math, like where I thought Trump was going to win, and Trump was going to win by almost as much as Obama did in 2008, by the looks of it. And me and my wife literally cried in our bed together. Like we told each other, because I told her I was afraid, because wherever I work, I was afraid of hillbilly coming in and shooting me dead.
And that's things that most people don't have to think about. And I had to lose it on my dad because my dad is a very old school blind Republican. And I told him, I hope you didn't vote red this time. He goes, of course I did, because that's all that matters. I said, that's not all that matters. You have family and friends. Oh, nothing's going to happen. You don't know that because you don't see the dominoes being put in place. It doesn't affect you, but it affects your kid. So you would think, you guys, you have to think outside the bubble. You are okay to believe and think whatever you want, but we do not live in a society that thinks that exact same way. We live in a society with hundreds of nationalities and races, which I think are the same thing, religious backgrounds, lifestyles, everything.
Sexual orientation, gender identity.
Lifestyles and gender identities.
Yeah.
That's because that's what we're supposed to be able to have here in America, is the freedom to have that. So when you want to impede anybody else's rights and lifestyles, you are not part of the solution, you're part of the problem, because we have plenty of problems in this world, in this country especially. And we are hoping that come this time next week, we will be able to be back to normal, but we've avoided social media. I've had to unfollow a ton of people on Facebook. I have family. I still love them, but we don't agree on this, and it's just because it doesn't affect them. Just because it doesn't affect you all doesn't mean it doesn't affect people around you. So please, please, please keep that in mind when you're looking at the future, because you would not see us doing these shows. I had my insurance agent text me earlier this week because I have to have my healthcare subsidized, half of it through the marketplace. The only reason why I have healthcare, I still pay for it, but it's not as much as it should be. He told me that I may not have coverage coming next year if things go a certain way. That's frightening because I'm sick, y'all. I am sick. I have conditions and I need my insurance. Yes, I have a job. No, it doesn't pay a whole lot. Nothing really pays a whole lot these days.
No.
I'm fortunate enough that I have someone else with me, but I can't be on his insurance because it costs $400 for me to be on his insurance job, because the healthcare industry is fucked up. Whether you want to admit it or not, it is fucked up. There are also equality issues at stake. There's also women's rights issues at stake. There's a lot at stake.
We just had a Supreme Court justice that looks like she's wanting to make the Handmaid's Tale a real thing.
We'll see about that. I understand where she's coming from, but I don't understand how anybody could vote for Mitch McConnell. Kentucky voted for him again. They must think that they're just high and dry.
Did you see what Trump won it by?
No, I'm talking about McConnell.
Yeah,
Who
did you
just
see what Kentucky? How big Kentucky? He's from Kentucky. Did you see how much how much Trump won Kentucky by?
I did not.
40 points.
Yeah, there's something wrong with Kentucky, y'all. If you're watching it from Kentucky, I'm sorry, but there's something wrong with you guys there.
If
If
they're
you
watching us from Kentucky, they probably agree.
happened this year and still vote for Mitch McConnell, like you guys are smoking your crack. Smoking your crack.
But hilariously, almost every state that had it up voted for legalized marijuana. So they want Trump and they want to get high.
So
did you see Mississippi's new flag? It's very pretty.
No, I have not.
I seriously look up their flag. It's really pretty.
I'll look it up, but that's why I've been so quiet this week, is it has been a very stressful week for all of us in our future, including y'all. Just remember, be kind to each other. That's the best thing. It is okay to disagree. It is okay to have conversations. It is not okay to enforce your will on somebody else, especially if you're hiding behind, it's my religious right. I'm going to say it right now. That is the biggest excuse.
I want to also explain something. Guys, when we argue, Gavin and I argue, even though at the end, we're still friends. Like
we're still friends.
Yeah. Like I'll be mad at him and I'll be red, but I mean, I also turn red really easily when my blood pressure goes up. But like we're still friends. Like we'll still play video games. We still do everything. Like we disagree on things, but
y'all don't understand. Pocky is a ride or die bitch. He's been around me the longest. He loves everybody except a certain person who shall remain unnamed.
To be fair, that club is very large, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all don't understand. Like, we are a family here at Kaiju. We are a very tight-knit fucking family. We are there for each other. But it has been a hell week for all of us. We have all been scared of the outcome. So we will be back next week, bright and happy, hopefully, and we're gonna have fun. So we'll see. That was my Jerry soapbox from Jerry Springer right here.
This is our moment with Jerry. Yes.
Yeah, a moment with Jerry here at the end. I've been watching Jerry Springer.
Our Sailor Moon says.
Yeah, Sailor Moon says, or now you know it. Knowing's half the battle. Yo, Joe, like.
And Sonic says that's okay. Remember the Sonic
Yeah.
By the way, I remembered when we finish this podcast, I have to tell you something. This is going to be hilarious for next week.
All right, so that's it for y'all. We'll see you guys next week. Tuesday is Brad's Red Web. Wednesday is Return to Fan Service. Thursday is
this
show again and game streaming afterwards. But you will be able to see me streaming my entire first 2 days of Destiny starting on Tuesday. When they open it up, I will be game streaming. And on Wednesday, I will be on my new Xbox because it gets here Tuesday and I got to get set up and everything. So Wednesday, I'll be on my new Xbox. So 2 days.
Oh, you have a new Xbox?
Yeah, I got my confirmations to get here on Tuesday.
All right.
So, yeah, I had a lot of Amazon credits, so I think I ended up only paying $200 for it. So it was because it was all these programs that you would just join and get Amazon gift cards for it, like my health app. I get $1 a day if I walk the 4,000 steps, which is super easy to do. I get an Amazon $1 a day. So I had all this built up credit. I was like, I've saved it specifically for the Xbox because I knew I'd want the Series X. So because I have to have a disk drive for some. I like some of my movies, anyways. That's it. So you'll hear me talk about that next week. My experience with the new Xbox. So Cynic should be back.
When will he be on? You'll have to watch both of our shows to find out if he's going to talk about it on Super Game Bros or Fan Service.
I'm saving it for Super Game Bros because we got way too much to talk about Fan Service, including that story I sent you about the Wishes controversy. There's sometimes I think people are going a little too far, and this is one of them. We're going to talk about that next week on Fan Service. You won't want to miss it. If you don't know what it is, just Google it and try not to laugh because it's not funny, but it's funny. So
it's
see you guys next week.
weird.